Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FMLFPL Milan.
This Walsh, you're kitted up today.
Kitted up.
Off the thrashing.
Yeah, I mean, I picked this up in the UK. Felt relevant. Felt like, how you doing?
Did you get it at like a Nike store, or where do they sell kits
it's like,
in the
so
UK?
we were walking around, girlfriend doing all the shopping. I'm just tagging along. Then I was like, oh, wait, I want to go in this store. And it's just all kits. It's just all like retro kits. Like
Gotcha.
This is even from like three seasons ago or whatever.
Gotcha.
No Palace kits, sadly. But I got my nephew a couple kits.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got him a Fulham. Not related to me going to the Fulham match at all. I was just picking from what they had kid size. And then I got him this sick Ajax 1998 kit. It's actually so fucking sick. I mean, he won't appreciate it at all, but I'll be happy when he's wearing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing to him? You might be indoctrinating him unnowingly, brainwashing him.
I mean, he's just like in the stage of his life where he's just full kit wankering every day of his life. Like
he goes to school, full
puts
kit
on
wanker.
the messy kit with the messy shorts, with the messy socks and his boots. You
gotta have a word with your brother. Allow him to go.
I like messy. I'm happy with it.
No, but full kitted with wankers.
He's 6.
I mean, I wouldn't allow Mbeumo to go full kidding.
Dude, I encourage it at that age.
Oh,
Get
my
in.
Goodness. Okay.
Yeah, come on. He's 6. He's just showing his love for the game.
All right.
So Team Walsh.
Team Walsh is doing good. Good these days.
What's happening in Team Walsh as part of the world?
I don't know, Doug. I don't know. I'm just falling into all the things, I guess. It's going raw wildcarded on 96.
Read the people of your team.
All right. So I finished on my wildcard with Raya. Defense is Trent Robbo. Didn't move from that for 1 second during tinkering.
Yeah.
Rico, who I didn't start with and kind of fell into after I spent more time thinking about defense, sort of like midway through the week.
And look, he got you another clean. You just got 3 cleans there, right?
Yeah, he just did it a different way. He got it 6 points a different way.
Yeah. 6 points is clean, no matter what.
Yeah, and then I have Pau and Greaves on the bench. My plan is just start Rico every week, and when he gets 0 minutes, Pau will come off, and that'll be probably fine. And I'll deal with it later when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
And then my midfield, I have Palmer, Rogers, Mbeumo, Eze. And then my forwards, I went with Kai, Watkins, and João Pedro, who I benched this week, obviously. I spent most of the week on 4-5 forward.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't feel like I wanted to spend $1 million there. But the more I looked at it with Rodgers, it just felt like when I was going through that, how is this team going to fail? That seemed to be the biggest issue. And if I had no money and I was moving somewhere from Rodgers, I felt like I would just be really ineffectively using transfers. So I just put João Pedro in. I don't remember what the sacrifice I made elsewhere was. I think maybe it was like the bench or something. Or
you were toying with Saka, right? You were like, maybe I'll Saka instead of Palmer because you know you're going to want him. And so that was kind of like I don't remember exactly where the edges were. I mean, this feels like the team that you kind of initially sent me.
Yeah, I mean, it was $1 million. So I think what I had was a 4-5 defender instead of Greaves, and I had 0.5 in the bank. And then I ended up just putting it all in João Pedro and
this team's
putting
great.
Greaves in.
I'm so happy with this team. Yeah.
Yeah. So Palmer, definitely, short term, probably game week 6, I'll get rid of him because I do want to get Saka in for those 2 games. I think it's worth it. And even though Palmer has good fixtures, his fixtures turn very quickly after that. And I just feel like Saka for the home Leicester, home Southampton back-to-back could be, 30 points there. And I just probably want that. Yeah. And then, my plan is to get Holland in for Watkins and probably Mo, Palmer, Watkins to Saka, Holland, and some cheapo is something that I'm going to want to do in a couple weeks. But
yeah,
I look good to save for the next couple. I think I'm in really good shape right now. And
wait, so how many frees are you on now? I'm like confused. 2. Okay, yeah.
2 frees. Yeah, Captain Mbeumo, so that was genius. Worked out. And
yeah, Aaron said, who's Walsh selling to get Holland back in, or is he sticking with his balls? I mean, like, dude, are you paying attention? Walsh is fucking flying right now. There's no panicking to get Holland in right now.
No, it doesn't matter at all until game week 7. And look, I'm not married to that. Because while home Fulham is good, I could be okay not captaining him that week. And then, the fixtures for him, it's the real home banker is game week 9. There's no, if he's fit, there's no universe where I'm not going to have him for that game.
Yeah.
But I mean, more likely than not, I'm going to put him in for 7 and cap him for 7 and 9, and then reassess. Maybe I'll get rid of him again because I like not capping him for aways and for non-home bankers. So,
even though he had it this week, I mean, I didn't feel nearly as good as the home the previous week. Yeah,
he looks great. Obviously. Fucking 7 goals in 3 games, and the home Brentham, home Arsenal, at Newcastle. I'm just gonna stick with what I got and hope Watkins, figures out how to get his head out of his fucking asshole and finds the back of the net. TBD on that, but
big TBD.
But that's me.
One more Walsh question before my team. Dr. Brad said, with an extra week of data, would Walsh's wildcard be any different? Which I thought was an interesting question.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely would be, because I think then the Palmer Saka question, it gets closer. So I don't know if I would actually end up going with Saka over Palmer in that position, but like we talked about, we liked the Palace fixture for Palmer, and they ended up matching each other's points on 6. But if you're gonna, and then I prefer Palmer's 4 and 5 to Saka's, but when you get closer to having to use the transfer, I don't know. I'm not sure how that trickles down or how many frees you have. But other than that, I mean, Rodgers was worrying. I still like having Watkins for this run. He still is farming chances. He's just not finishing them. He still returns. Has home Everton, home Wolves at Ipswich. I mean, I know every wildcard team I've been seeing in Discord has Mo and Holland. And it's kind of difficult to imagine not doing that, but I just don't think it's correct, because we can't captain both of them ever. So, you have to, I think, spend more time looking at the captains. I mean, there are so many good picks, and when you have, 28 million of your budget in 2 players, if you have Rodgers and Semenyo and 5-5-5-5-5, João Pedro,
it comes
starting
back to the
week.
pressure point thing. It's almost like if you just made like an Excel spreadsheet of your team, and we're just like, who are my greens, who are my yellows, who are my reds? I feel like a lot of the Discord teams with, even 3-mium teams I'm seeing with Palmer, Mo, and Holland. Yeah, and it's like there's like 6 yellows in your team.
Yeah, I mean, and you're looking
this
at
is like a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, these teams I'm seeing are like trying to go without Trent or jamming in like Robbo with cheap defenders. Yeah. João Pedro starting every week with no cover. And look, that'll be nice for home Ipswich, home NFO. Yeah. And then you're looking at it and kind of, to me, I'd be saying, like, I don't know if I really want to start him for any of the, they have home Wolves. Like, I mean, I don't view, and I could be egg on my face, because they might just continue to improve and he is a starter, but it's stressful, I think. And Rodgers, right? I mean, don't know if he's good IRL. I don't know if he's a good FPL pick still.
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll get there. But how about you?
I mean,
you're also...
I'm doing great.
Quite great.
Yeah, 87. I got there the more traditional way than you, the capping Mbeumo and shit. I just have Holland cap for a hat trick. I have Mo. I was thinking back of like where we were at pre-game week 1, and I was kind of like, yeah, Holland and Mo, I'm just going to get them. And when you think about it, it's kind of simplifying the game. It's like there's either they're both going to be doing well, therefore I'm going to be doing well and happy that I have both of them. Or one or two of them are not going to be doing that well and I can get any player in the game.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the really oversimplified version of that. And it turns out they're both the two best picks in the game. So I'm doing well. I got another Trent clean. I mean, his point dodging is on another level this season. I mean, unprecedented.
He's dodging them and he also has 20 points.
Which is also a funny thought I had today that something we never talk about is like clean sheets as an avenue.
Yeah.
Right? Because like I had Doku also, who also creates chances and everyone hits the bar and yada, yada, yada. But he has no other avenues. Either his teammate finishes across or / cutback, or he's blanking, and he's blanked every game. And meanwhile, Trent just rattling off 3 cleans, no problem. Leaf Davis, MVP with a 7-pointer. Isak finally got a goal, 9-pointer. So, just fine. I already made 2 moves, though, because of the aforementioned João Pedro price changes. So I ripped out Doku and Muniz for João Pedro and Eze. Exact funds. Feel like I'm in a pretty good spot with 1 free with that team moving forward. So I feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, Muniz just didn't work out. And Smith Rowe too. I mean, if he didn't get the goal, I mean, that goal
was that
just
10-pointer.
Yeah, that 10-pointer was... I don't know. We could probably... We're going to have to spend some more time talking about Fulham probably. I don't know if we're going to do it today, but...
Not today.
That's the kind of thing... Yeah, that's the thing where you have, Haaland and Mo, and if your 5/5's blank, it's okay. If your cheapest guy's blank, it's okay when they're just scoring 15 points, when they're both scoring like around 15 points every week. It covers, it papers over the cracks. And, you don't need much from those picks to still be fine, right?
That's the thing. It's like Doku, Smith Rowe, and Muniz. I mean, Smith Rowe, very close to blanking all 3, and the other 2 did blank all 3, but
1 return in 9 games.
Yeah, you have to set your priors with these kind of picks anyway, right? Like if I had a crystal ball in front of me that said nothing else other than Doku starts all 3 games 100% for Man City, I would have been like, oh, auto. This is a fucking phenomenal pick. And he started all 3 and created a bunch of chances, and he blanked. Muniz, he's going to get however many shots he has in 3 games. I don't know, 12 or something like that. And a bunch of them are good chances. I would have been like, yeah, that's good. I want that player.
What if he was going to get 0 shots and 12 headed shots?
Well, yeah. If the crystal ball just showed me a head and said all shots are coming from here.
It's like the XG dots on his fucking head.
I'm not sure. Or bicycle kicks. That's the Moody special.
Bikes
like 3 headers and a bicycle kick. Moody's 90.
The Isak goal was a really big pressure relief, though. That 9-pointer was huge.
I mean, Gordon only has 1 return in 3 games, but it was a 10-pointer, and I feel good about their fixtures. Isak got the assist in the red card game and then a huge goal Max Bones this game. So that calmed the nerves a lot. But that pick. So I'm like pretty stable. I'm not amazing. I'm not a wild card team. I'm definitely not a wild card team.
Especially after these 2 frees.
Yeah, but I'm okay. And I still like most.
And you have
team,
Leaf.
And I have Leaf. So just start every week. Easiest game in the world.
So nice that he just came in right away and got you a 7-pointer. It's so huge.
With a side pass from midfield.
Yeah, but he looked good.
Dude, he was everything I wanted him to be.
Yeah.
Cool. August mug winners. First mug of the year, and we're shipping 5 mugs out this month because of the triple tie in 3rd place. Nathaniel Brown in 1st place, aka No Mystery. Sathya, aka Jitterbug on Discord, aka Wharton Here's a Who in 2nd place, and then a 3-way tie, 3rd place. Michael Kaufman, aka Mishka, aka Tempting Transfers, DJ Sigmund, aka Gnarls Barkley, and Rob Jones, aka Rob with 2 B's on Discord, aka Omni Shambles. Great job by all of you. Dude, Mish. So upset he didn't win a mug, and then turns out he did win a mug. He doesn't know the rules of the thing he's been subscribed to for 5 years.
Mish PowerPoints in the live stream have been the best thing of the season for me so
People
far.
have no idea. Last live stream was also the funniest live stream of my life. Oh my God.
I was just hysterically laughing like the whole time.
Yeah, I was crying.
All right. That's that. So yeah, you have to reset.
Wait. One more public league leader.
September.
Rory Button, aka Ding Dong Diogo. Good job by you.
September, another 3 game week month.
Oh, ripe for mugs.
If you have chips.
Yeah, because of the international break right now.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a world where there's just no international breaks? One season that's just NFL schedule style. Every week, no Friday games.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple Monday games, but I don't even give a shit about Monday games. No Friday games, no international breaks. It's just every week. There's games on Saturday, games on Sunday. Can you fucking imagine how good that would be?
Wouldn't mind. Wouldn't mind it.
Oh, God.
I mean, we're on day fucking 2 of 14 right now. It's terrible.
It's unbelievable. It's so bad. Day one.
Jesus Christ.
There were games yesterday. Day 1.
I always feel like the first week of the international break are like among the worst weeks of the whole year, where it's like I have to go through all this shit, and then I get to the next Monday, and I'm like, fucking finally, okay, at least this is like a normal week, and I have the same, and then I have the same build up to the weekend.
Yeah, and then guess what? Another international break after game week 7.
Right, so you're depressing me here with this talk. So what do we got going today, baby?
We got games to talk about.
Yeah,
we got questions.
A lot of shit happening, man.
A lot of shit. You kind of mentioned Villa. Maybe we go there. I'm really curious because you watched this game and I didn't.
Yeah.
What you saw. Questions wise, Wolfie basically summed it all up. He said, where do you stand on Villa assets ahead of a ridiculous run? It feels like the attack is where you want it to be, but Bailey has potential injury. Watkins is low on form and a rotation risk. Is it Rodgers' team now?
I mean, it was a really difficult game to watch having Rodgers and Watkins. I mean, the first
Ollie.
It didn't take long before Rodgers to Ollie with the Ollie fuck up was just that was the story of life of the game.
Yeah.
But
I
mean, Villa they're just getting away with it. Almost like Newcastle, similar to Newcastle, where, for them to be on 6 points is maybe reasonable because the West Ham were pretty poor game week 1, but they were just broadly bad this game, and their balance just feels really off. Tielemans, Onana just doesn't seem like that works to me. And, the fullbacks are problematic. Like the Bogard was probably their worst player. He put up a 0. He was so bad. And, Dean on the other side is just really limiting in terms of how much he can give you. And, I just feel like their balance is really just off. And Rodgers didn't play well. He wasn't his best game. He was getting physical to fuck. They were fouling and needling and niggling. Like they were just all over him. And, he had just had a really hard game. He had a hard time dealing with it. And it felt like he didn't have confidence in his touch or just have assurance as he did like the games before where he was just taking everyone on and just, kind of in beast mode. So, but the early injury to Bailey also moved him over to the right, which changed things dramatically. I mean, he hadn't done that. And, just doing that kind of mid first half, I think he was also just a little bit
that'll fuck the team up.
Just not used to it, and everyone's doing different things when Bailey does do so much for them in terms of outlet and creating space, and losing him after 15 minutes was a hammer blow. I mean, they don't have, especially with Emi Buendia seemingly, I don't know where he is, he's fit, not
he's
fit,
on the bench. I don't think he's appeared yet, but
he's a fucking he's just not. And then Philogene hurt, right? And that's so all of a sudden they just have no width, depth at all.
They got rid of Diaby, and they don't have someone to play Diaby's minutes.
So Bailey's out. So I don't know if he's going to switch to playing with Duran and Watkins, which he might have to do.
Matson could do a job.
He could.
I'm not calling this, oh my God, out of position Matson, but he could fill in their left wing.
I struggle to see how they score goals, really, when they have all these kind of players who want to play more centrally, and where's the width? What does a goal look like? I'm not sure.
Yeah, they have
looking
a lot
at
of
how the personnel is going to be.
Dribbly, central mid. It's Ramsey seemed good on highlights. But what I was going to say is the opposite end of this take is it could have been 2-0 in 20 minutes easily. Ollie is getting huge chances. 1v1 that he didn't even get a shot off, so it doesn't even count towards his shots or XG or whatever.
The one when the goalie fouled him, or he ran over the goalie as he fucked up his touch. Yeah,
and that was a 1-on-1, and then he got another 1-on-1 off target.
That's peak Ollie goal.
Yeah, but like, what? Yeah. Eventually he's going to score, and then things will get going. But
yeah, but yes, those were two good chances. They didn't continue to create and have more of them, though.
They didn't really have a good chance Leicester, after the Onana goal.
Yeah, and the Onana goal was one of those. But
set piece,
they're playing Leicester.
Set piece. Yeah.
They're playing Leicester, and they rode their luck. They could have easily went away with a point. And I honestly feel like a point sort of fit most fair result on balance, a score draw. But yeah, Leicester gave them some problems, and the sub and it doesn't smell good, from Villa.
It doesn't smell good, but as a non-owner, I feel like there's sometimes more clarity as a non-owner than an owner. As a non-owner, I was like, oh my God, I got so fucking lucky, because that could have been an Ollie triple return. Subs on 65. I'm like, I have to wildcard probably, because I have to get him for this run, and I'm fucked if I don't have him.
Yeah. He subbed on 60 on the nose again. So hopefully these 2 weeks.
Not good. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully these 2 weeks. I don't imagine he's going to be going to England. Maybe he is. I have no idea. But hopefully these 2 weeks give him
by the club if they let him go.
Get him back up. And again, right? This is the kind of thing where he's still got 5 points, so it's not he got something.
By the way, did he touch that ball?
Yeah, I think he did. They had one replay. They showed many replays. There was one where you could tell
so many angles.
There was one where you could actually tell that the trajectory of the ball got slightly altered when it passed him. But there were plenty of angles where it looked like he was nowhere near the ball.
What is this?
Yeah, there was one from the sideline, like the near sideline. I remember seeing. I was like, oh, yeah, he did actually touch it. But that's a thing where he didn't do the things, or he kept doing the things he's been doing all year, missing his chances. So if you're wildcarding now, you're looking at him like, I'm not doing that. Even though they have good fixtures, like he's not showing me anything. And, that could be fortunate, or it could be very unfortunate, because, as we talk about fixtures and form and what breeds which, fixtures breed form. So I'm still going to just give him the next 3. And,
I think
after the Ipswich game, I'm just going to reassess. And look, if he gets me 6 points in the next 3 or 9 points in the next 3 or something, then I'll just get rid of him. I'm just going to not have him anymore, and I'll get some good forward, and I'll be fine. I'll get Isak or something, or whoever's good then, and that's fine for me. But yeah, it's disappointing. But I do want to just make another note on Rodgers. Like he's clearly very skilled and good, like at things in real life, and he helps the team a lot, and he floats and drifts. He's good at football, good touch, like good vision, good passing. He could have 3 assists right now, and
100%.
we wouldn't be worried about this. But he's the kind of player that, for him to be an FPL pick, the team has to be playing well, because he's not going to just be like Eze and just be like, I'm just going to blast the world in, or I'm going to take 6 shots in a game. He's just he goes with the game. And he's influential and important. But, when the team isn't playing well, I think that's with Rodgers. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to even start him over Mbeumo this week. I plan to before the week, and I think I want to try and stick with that, because I don't want to overreact to one fixture. But, if you have him and he's a start every week with no bench cover, I would very much be looking at a plan for, game week 7 to figure something out there, because, we haven't even mentioned Europe. They could really look, they are struggling to put a good 11 out right now. They're injured, and they don't have a deep squad, and they might just be really fucked up in like Newcastle were last year, where they're not going to look good all winter, fall and all winter. Like they're laying the groundwork for that. They're starting slowly, and Europe starts, very imminently. So, Villa's concerning to me.
That kind of stuff is not linear. It's like, is Emery a good coach? Yes, obviously. Mm-hmm. Like, do they have good players? Yes, obviously. But like, when is it all going to click? No idea. It could be in February. It's like, oh, they're starting to look good, and this is good for next season. But like, we don't really know. Yeah, You answered one of these questions, but the other one, was Ben G. I guess a lot of people are wildcarding because we got a lot of wildcard questions.
Yeah, they're fair wildcard.
Yeah, Ben G said, if you're on wildcard over the international break, is it even worth the 0.6 to bring Rodgers into your team over Winks or insert any 4-5 if he's just going to rot on your bench? And I still think he is. I still think getting an eighth attacker at 5-1 is still worth it.
So one note on this, which I'm a little bit I didn't spend any time thinking about this, and I wish I had, but I think you just go Adama, honestly, because he doesn't have Europe. They don't have competition for his spot. I mean, they did bring in one winger.
They brought in a guy. Well, they did bring in
one guy.
They brought in Reese and they signed someone, I think.
I think Reese is the main. That's
was it only Reese?
I mean, because he can play on the right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but
it's just Reese. It's just Reese. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he's, Adama's going to be playing every game unless he gets hurt, right? And if you're never starting, that's the thing. If you're getting Rodgers, you're never starting him, then I would rather have an attacking 5 million who I know is going to be starting every game. And we have no idea when Europe starts, over the next 2-3 months, if that's going to be the case. Yeah. So, I mean, I would look at that.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, Milv was really happy with Adama. He got the goal.
Which is a goal I've never seen him score that goal before.
I feel like I've seen him
only has 4 goals
every type of goal because he just it's random.
I've seen him shoot that. I've seen him take that chance and put it into the fucking stands.
Yeah,
a lot,
I've seen him do everything. That's what I mean. I've literally he's a perfect I show my nephew an Adama compilation in 15 years, and he's like, oh, he's the best player in the world, right? And I'm like, well, what if I told you he's one of the worst?
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny, I said, is Watkins not a captain pick if he keeps going off at 60? Yeah, probably
sure.
not a captain pick.
He's for sure not a captain pick.
And the last Villa question was Big Dunk. He said, is Onana the Villa pick and the new Doug Luiz, or is it just not sustainable? I mean,
no, it's ridiculous.
He doesn't have pens, so
yeah, he's someone
it's very different.
I think it was Liam in Discord made a really good comp to Soup-Check.
Yes.
Onana.
Yes.
Really good comp. So,
great comp.
You could have a charmed 8-goal Onana season and, if he does it in a 2-month span, you're fucking flying. But his goals are just headers and lucky late runs into the box. He's not an FPL pick to me.
Even the late run was a design set piece.
Yeah.
Even his ones that seem like open play are still not open play at all.
Do you think that note is overthinking with Rodgers about not getting him and getting someone like Adama because of Europe potential rotation with him, or is that reasonable?
I mean, I think it's reasonable. I think there's a higher % chance that Rodgers starts trickling in with some 27-minute appearances more than Adama, even though Adama also gets subbed every game, which is annoying. At least he's starting every game with very little competition. I mean, there's basically only Reese for both wings, as far as I can tell. I mean, Harry Wilson, he's the guy who subs on. I don't think I don't think he's about to I don't think he's knocking the door down for a start.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is if he does want to push Hogel up and play Burge, there's all of a sudden there's one spot between Awobes, Hogel, and that Smith Rowe, Lukic.
The other thing is if he thinks he's gonna have an aneurysm because he's watching Adama every week, and he's like, I just need to never see this guy play again. Ideally,
that's fair.
Let's talk about City.
Okay.
So this one's targeted a little bit for you. Callie said Walker came on for Gvardiol. Is Rico Lewis the best defender pick in the game? Easy game. Gets an assist. The kid is unbelible.
It's so funny how short our little goldfish memories are.
Oh my god.
What's your Rico? Because you were sort of trying to push me off Rico
for the sake of depth.
Yeah,
my position when you ended up with the João Pedro taking $1 million from taking 0.5 from one of your backup defenders, and you had 0.5 in the bank.
Because I had Kilman. Instead, I didn't have Pow. I had Kilman and Dunk were my 2 4-5s with Rico.
Right. So
I like them.
You had Trent Robbo 3 4-5s, and one of them being Rico.
Yeah.
And my stance was Also, I want you to have João Pedro. We were both like pretty aligned that like you need cover for this team. Like having just Rodgers is not good enough. And my thinking was in a team with Trent Robbo, Rico 4-5-4-0, it's a little thin at the back because Villa's defense isn't even good. And after this run, you're never going to want Powell to come in. You never basically want Greaves to play. I mean, I have Leaf Davis, but at least he attacks. And then, I was just envisioning a world where Rico's no longer starting every week and you're unhappy with your third defender. But I was still high on Rico. I was just trying to find the balance, right? It was I just want there to be cover because I'm worried that that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looks great. He's kind of always looked exactly like this to me. Yeah, it's definitely hard for me to tell if he's taking a step forward, if he's doing one specific thing maybe that Pep really wanted him to do that he wasn't doing before, but he's just fucking great. He's just like a great talent in a bobbining kind of way of just he's such a good touch.
Yeah.
Clever, such a good dribbler. Will he keep starting? No clue at all. Especially in the hard games. Probably not would be my guess. An Arsenal,
which could be great.
Fulham, Arsenal.
If
Newcastle,
those are the ones he misses and doesn't sub on, Yeah, I mean the thing that's fascinating with him a little bit to me is they don't have a fullback like him on the team. So when they don't play with him, it's just, Gvardiol is the most creative one. And, we obviously remember the end of last season, his heroics where he was just coming in and scoring and getting points for fun. But he did it in a very different way. It's a lot more like Route 1 or something he'll go on maybe a more direct. Rico is like you're saying. Yeah, I imagine he's just another year in the system, not positionally getting caught out like he maybe would have done last year. But the way that he just plays, he was playing a midfield. I mean, he's playing as like an 8. I mean, he goes
inverting Stones, prime Stones role. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, he's 4'6" now, but it's pretty good. I mean, it feels good. I'm really glad I have him. I'm happy to keep starting him and, where I came out at the end with my specific team with, Pau is, if Rico is a problem when Pau's run ends, then I'm going to need to do something about my defense.
A transfer.
Yeah, I use a transfer.
That's it. You pick your favorite 4 or 5 guy for the next 10 weeks and you pick him.
And I might get rid of Rico at that point because he didn't play for 4 games in a row and he's just sitting on the bench, because Pep changed his mind about something because that's how he rolls. Or I get rid of How? And I just get someone else who has a good fixture run and it's not him, in
exactly.
6 game league. So
in worst case, it seems like it's just 1 free.
Yeah.
Which is not that bad.
Yeah, that's where it seemed like. But
Rico
seems great.
It's like, Red Eye Jedi had this question. He said, with Pep not playing Foden, Stones, or Walker yet, and Europe about to start, should we just avoid all City assets other than Haaland? And I think this sums up kind of what we all know is that other than Haaland, probably, Kev probably also is lumped in with the rest, not in the Haaland category anymore. They're all going to get rotated, and we don't really know who's going to start. And that's a big reason I ripped Doku out of my team. I feel like I got a little bit lucky to get 3 starts out of him, but I'm not banking on that for 3 more. And I think that's broadly right. And that's why Rico is interesting because he's cheap and you can cover easily defensively, right? We all have a 4th defender that plays and most of us have a 5th defender that plays unless you still have Barco like me.
Yeah.
So it's easier.
And we won't know this until we see him not start some games, but we are anticipating that when he doesn't start, he doesn't sub on. That it's going to be a 0 minute because Pep hates subbing. He hates making subs,
using
period.
Subs. Yeah.
He likes just giving guys full rests and not putting them in that position for whatever reason. So if that's the case, it just makes Rico, when he's rotated, unlike with Foden or Bill or Doku or whoever, Jack, Kevin, they have so much more likelihood to sub on because those are the positions that, you typically use your subs more. But that could make Rico just actually, he should be in every team kind of pick. And he's getting close to that, honestly.
I don't think he's getting close yet. I really don't, but
I do. I think we could be about 3 or 4 games away from it's just like, oh yeah, he should be in every team. He's going to be 4-8 or something by then. If he's starting some games, they still look good. He gets another. I mean, dude, he should have a goal. I mean, he had 2.
Tell me about it.
He could have 2.
Yeah.
But he should have 1. Like, if you add 7 more points onto him, he's just sitting there with Trent points, kind of thing. And so he's fucking good pick. Yeah.
Really good pick. We'll see when the other guys integrate. I don't know, but good pick.
Well, the other guys is just one guy's Kyle. I mean, what's going to happen?
Stones.
Right. Sure. Well, Stones, I'd still kind of barely consider him a City employee at this point.
I don't know what to believe.
It's crazy. He just never plays. He's never fucking picked.
Never fit, never plays.
Never fit.
And then at some point, he'll play 20 games in a row and be the best player on the team.
And then Ruban just fucking smacks it in his own goal like the piece of shit that he is.
Genius by him.
Yeah.
And, Raul said Doku's close to points every week. Surely a seemingly nailed Pep when you play both left, right is not a transfer out. And I just replied to him like, too late. He's out of my fucking team. I gave him the run that he needed. So that's it. And the last City question was just Moriarty. It's 2 hat tricks in a row. Is it even worth it to transfer out Haaland and have more premiums? I'm guessing Walsh's wildcard performance last week says yes. Well, it is different though. It's different with freeze than with a wildcard.
Yes. Like,
I'm not transferring him out.
No, it's so dramatically different because if you're doing it with freeze, you need to have more freeze than you have right now to do it.
You kind of need 5.
You need 4. 4 could work.
3-ish for the Haaland move because you're distributing so many millions.
Yeah. But, you obviously can make it. I mean, I don't have Haaland and I just scored 95, 7, whatever the fuck points. So there are a ton of good picks in the game and there are a lot of different teams you can make that are great without Haaland as they would be with him or could be with him. But, it depends how quickly you can redistribute and how many picks you have are just not that good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
What game do you want to go next?
Well, I just want to talk one thing. We kind of talked about Southampton a couple games ago as like this is the team to target, and then just every game is just more loudly reinforcing and giving us more loud evidence and information that they are the team to target. Brenham could have scored 5 in that game.
I was watching that game. It was horrifying as a non-Mbeumo owner. I mean, they are very Burnley. They are very similar to Burnley last year.
But like first half Burnley somehow figured it out in the second half. They weren't shipping as many.
Honestly, maybe Southampton will too,
it's possible.
They still that was kind of a takeaway of the game was like they kind of dominated for large chunks of that game. Of course they weren't creating good chances because they're very bad and have bad players. But it's weird. Like the zone, their defensive third was just a fucking feeding frenzy for Brentford. They created 7 big chances from turnovers there. But when it was in, Southampton's attacking third, they were pretty good. Like Sugawara's good. Lallana came on and was good. BBD looked pretty good. So like that's kind of a Burnley-esque thing to me is like, they would just like surprisingly hold possession and then like fucking Muric would like do some dumbass shit and, like whatever it is. And they feel very similar to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. No, that's a good comp.
And that was Side's question. He's like, is Mbeumo actually a great pick or is Southampton just in the business of getting themselves relegated? But I think that's
both things are true.
Yeah, exactly. Like how many games of Mbeumo being God tier without Tony do you need before it's just like, factual?
Yeah, we've seen it with him for enough of a sample size to know that, he's electric and has all the avenues and is a phenomenal pick.
Yeah.
So, Mbeumo should be in every team after the next 2 game weeks, just like Eze, and that's like, if you have the Haaland team and you have like neither Mbeumo nor Eze,
problem,
and you have like Mo and then like you've got Trent, like you have it in different places and you're in good shape. But
and I got Eze this week.
Yeah, you have Eze now. Yeah, you have him now. But those are the kind of picks that you must have in my view, to cover over, some of the other cheap, expensive players that you don't have kind of deal. And
game week 6, like I'm not sure right now that I'm gonna have enough frees to have like a team I'm happy with. Like I might have to wildcard in 6, but
which is fine.
Which is fine. Newcastle, they have home Man City in 6, and then like kind of a tricky run because I expect Everton to not be the worst team in the league, and then Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal, right? So that's a really convenient time to like. You want Mbeumo and you want 3 Arsenal players. Like, boom. That's all your moves in game week 6. So you need to figure out how to make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, Southampton, Bruno plays in this week.
Yep.
Early game. I expect at least 3 goals for Manchester United against Southampton. I mean, they're Rashford, Garnacho, Bruno should fill their boots. I mean, I expect every attacker against Southampton to fill their boots unless they show otherwise. So, I think just
proven otherwise.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of really frustrated people that have Bruno that are like just ripping him out at all costs. And
shout out to Sammy.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't ahead of Southampton. I mean, he could come in with a triple return easily in this game. So
I wouldn't transfer any attacker before Southampton.
Yeah,
it's
Southampton
too good.
are bad. Yep.
I mean, should we talk about Man United game? We only got a couple questions. Benji said, is the stench at Old Trafford enough to make Bruno, Mazraoui, and the other potential picks avoids? And then Viking said, if you're still not on Mo, is it rip up your team, aka wildcard territory?
I mean, if you don't have Mo, I assume you have Haaland, so you'll be okay because you can still captain Haaland this week. And, home Bournemouth is a pretty good fixture for Liverpool game week 5. I mean, that is, again, right, that was such a huge factor for me why I wanted to have Mo was for captaining him in game week 5 because 5's a little bit tricky of one. And
Man City, Arsenal are in 5 for those not following.
Yeah. But as far as Man United go, I mean, they're just going to finish somewhere around 7th. And the players are cheap. So I'm not like really seeing a reason to panic there. Like they're not premium assets. And, the fixtures have been a bit of a mixed bag. We know Bruno's underperformed and, the fixtures on the horizon are, incredible. I mean, after the Southampton one specifically, they have some tricky aways and the homes, home Spurs, home Brentford, and they're not incredible. But, I mean, if you have like Mazraoui, it's fine.
Just
what are you? Yeah, just bench him. I mean,
like start him this week, bench him, and fucking Spurs, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I assume you're not getting him as a start every week kind of pick, and I think you just hold Bruno for this week, reassess. But look, Liverpool
he also almost scored. Mazraoui almost scored versus Liverpool. Like that was their best fucking shot in the game. So
and I mean, Ugarte will come in, and a lot's going to be made of the midfield as it should because it's undermanned, and they're going to struggle with Europa League. But they're streets behind Liverpool. I mean, this is any team that's going to finish lower. High, between 7th and 10th are going to get destroyed by Liverpool this year. And that's who they are. And they're priced accordingly. So if you look at them more in that context and through that lens, rather than, they're supposed to be among the best picks in the game and they're one of the best teams in the league, which neither of those things are true, nor have neither of those things been true for years.
25 years.
But that's still how how they're viewed and talked about. I mean, FPL towers have gotten, fans, but just premier, because we've been conditioned to that reality. And look, their defenders are 4, 5, and 5. I mean, they're priced just like Aston Villa and
Everton.
That's Everton or whatever, right? So that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm totally with you. I don't actually think there's any more of a stench now than there was game week 1. I mean, it's all the same players and the same manager. They actually made some good signings. It's the same fucking team. If you think they're good, you're gonna get disappointed because they haven't been good and they're not gonna be good. But if
not good,
they're just not good. But if you recognize where they stand in the world and they're fighting for Europa Conference League, then they're off to a fine start. They have a win. That's pretty good for them.
Yeah. Let's go on the other side, though, and talk about your team. I mean, it was obviously a dismantling performance.
Yeah.
Any change in I think the Liverpool power ranking kind of the picks, it's tough. Where do you see
really
that?
tough. It's basically between Mo, Diaz, Jota, Sobo's behind all of them. Trent, Robbo, Konate's 5.
I want to talk about
5, VVD 6.
Yeah.
Mo is still. I mean, Brian had a question about like Diaz and Jota, and then after the match, he responded, "Forget my question. All good attacks go through Mo," and it's just like, like he's still just by far the best. He is one of the all-time greats. He's just unbelievable. Looks as fit as ever. Had the summer off.
I mean, they have 7 goals on the season, and he's 6 involvements.
Yeah, he's 3 goals, 3 assists.
It's insane. Yeah, the hair transplant. Not having the Sideshow Bob curlies, I like a lot. But I would have preferred if he did this, though, and just embraced the...
Oh, me too. The one of us.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's
You're
fine.
Married.
It's fine.
Everyone
Athletes
loves
are
you.
just fucking weird.
They're fucking weirdos,
Athletes
dude.
just are all demented.
So
do you have any
weird.
athlete? Well, never mind. But
let's trail that.
But yeah,
off,
I mean, I mentioned this, I think, last pod. Like, there's got to be some out and out Liverpool supporting maniac who just went Mo, Diaz, Jota in their game week 1 team, and they are fucking flying because Jota and Diaz should not be 7.5 if they're starting every week. Obviously, I think Towers basically made them all 7.5 because they just assumed there's just going to be so much rotation everywhere.
Cannibalization.
It's a nightmare. Yeah, none of them are going to be picks, yada, yada. And maybe that would have been true under Klopp. Maybe that still will be true when Europe starts next week. But as of now, if they're starting every week, they're completely broken and, ridiculous picks.
Yeah. So how do you stack up those 6? Trent, Robbo, Konate, Mo, Diaz, Jota. I mean, which 3?
I think Mo and Trent speak for themselves as being well ahead of the pack. They're both nailed and they're both the best. Like Trent's easily the best defender in the game. Mo's easily the best midfielder in the game. I don't think anyone would even argue with that. And like we said with the Trent point dodging, I mean, he had a goal overruled this week. He's created many big chances that none have been scored. Don't need to go any further into that. But then, outside of those, I mean, I still really like Jota, but he's going to get rotated. I mean, as soon as we're back, it's like EFL Cup game and then Champions League game and then more games, so it might be a world where I like that you have Mo, Trent, Robbo because Robbo, I think, is also safe to start all the games, but I don't think it's impossible that the best 3 are just Mo and Trent and just get someone else who's amazing as your 3rd pick, not a Liverpool player.
Really? So even with Diaz and Jota, you're that worried about rotation that
I am. Yeah,
you wouldn't have them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have their fixtures. I actually wanted to look into the Champions League fixtures more, but I didn't have time. But it gets insane immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 game. It's a game every 3 days.
Yeah, they're home NFO on Saturday the 14th, and then they're away AC Milan on Tuesday.
Yeah,
they're to fly on Sunday immediately for a way harder game.
Yeah.
So already and Darwin's not going, right? He's banned from international games for 6 games or something for fighting fans. And already it's just I could see Darwin or Gakpo starting easily at home NFL.
Yeah, it's just too scary.
Yeah, so for me, it's I think you got your points and you're really happy. And I don't think that they're you have to hold Diaz, you have to hold Jota at this point. I'm really worried about the rotation.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay, and what about Konate? Because I mean, he's been a monster since he subbed on, and the last 2.5 games, he's just been a beast.
He's so good.
Are you really worried about him rotating too? Because he would tempt me over Robbo on wildcard as maybe the 3rd guy because you're freeing up a mil. You could show me a team that has if I put that million somewhere else if you have Trent, Konate, Rico 4-5 behind them.
Yeah.
Could be an interesting one.
Yeah, I think I like that shout, especially because we saw, Robbo against Man United with Garnacho on that side, he's just too good to let run free, right? So all of a sudden, the Robbo that was in the box, getting shots, taking corners, it just did not exist at Old Trafford at all. He was just complete. He was basically left center back. I mean, they basically played a back three.
He didn't attack at all.
Yeah, so Robbo's trending downwards a little bit because, Man United's not the only team in the league with good wingers who are fast. The only thing we don't know, and I think it's probably worth a ticket to find out, is he going to go full Klopp? Like Konate can't play 2 games a week and I'm never going to let it happen?
Yeah.
Or is he just going to be like, he's one of the best center backs in the world?
Yeah, so play him like you play Virgil.
Yeah, which is probably the way to go. Like you talked to Neil in preseason, right? Who's just like, what are you saving him for?
Yeah. And I remember a run. Yeah, and I so vividly remember us having that conversation. Yeah. Like, he's fit. Like, this is the bracket of games. Like, he's going to play these games. Right?
It's like play your best players when they're fit because they're going to get hurt eventually. Yes,
they're going to get Tommy John surgery. Like, just pitch.
So
yeah, I mean, the Robbo,
I'm tempted to take that punt if you're on wildcard. That's really appealing to me. Maybe Konate at 5.
Because I mean, the thing with Robbo is, if they're cleaning at the rate that I believe they will clean at, I'm happy for Robbo to take the occasional game off attacking when they're playing a good team.
Yes, right.
And
it's the avenues thing with cleans as one of the avenues.
Yes, right. And, I do believe Konate, despite his performance in the league so far, telling us otherwise, to be a donger. I mean, he could have 2 dongs this year.
This is the story of his life. I don't understand.
But he will score goals eventually. He is not.
They might be in the Champions League, but
they might be. He's good at scoring in the Champions League.
Yeah, but they'll happen. They'll happen.
Yes. So Konate at 5, because we take the piss out of Konate for his lack of availability, but when he plays,
he's so
he's so good. And they bought him. I mean, he was one of the best, young center backs in the world.
Yeah.
And he's just not been able to stay fit for years, but he looks right now. And we've seen him come back from injury spells previously and just not look that good. He's had some 90s where it's like, oh God, like Konate wasn't that good, but
it looks sluggish or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing this way and, I don't know what the subtle demands on the center backs are different, but he looks great. 5 million's just,
and Liverpool are just basically not really, I mean, they conceded some chances after it was already 3-0, which is concerning for a clean sheet, but pre that, I mean, they're just not conceding chances.
The Xerxes header, right? Was the
like half chances, bicycle kicks, like a header from a corner, whatever. But in all 3 games, it's just like the defense just looks really good. So yeah, okay. I like that shout. Yeah.
Liverpool good. What about Newcastle?
Yeah, we gotta talk about Newcastle. Josh being slim asking, is Gordon to Mbeumo the easiest transfer of your life? Saka said, is Gordon to Diaz time, or do we keep him for Wolves and Fulham? And Jao also is just saying, how do we feel about Isak now and Pisser? If you have to sell one to a forward, Saka to Mo, which one goes, or both of them sells? And I'm just so opposite of every single one of these questions. I feel really fine with Newcastle, and am I crazy? Am I blinded?
I think maybe a little bit. I think you should be a little bit more concerned than you are currently. Especially that the next 4 fixtures are 3 aways and home Man City. A lot's been made of their home away form splits. I think probably more overblown than anything. And also it's been talked about because it's true, right? I mean, they've been poor away for a while, for months and months and months and months. So while the away fixtures aren't that grueling or difficult on paper, they seem to make every away fixture difficult. I mean, they went to Bournemouth and got fucking destroyed. We talked about the team that they played in that game, but look, I mean, they were playing home Spurs and, they somehow got the 3 points, but it wasn't like a convincing performance, right, by any stretch. But where are you? I mean, why? Because you just feel like these 2 players are such tried and true tested FPL assets, and that they're just going to score a couple goals and they're going to be involved in these games.
It was an interesting. I mean, it was interesting and wasn't interesting at the same time, the Spurs game, because it was classic Ange Spurs. I mean, Spurs
We've been talking
dominate
about
the
that
ball
since game week 5 last year.
They dominate the ball. They get high turnovers. They tilt the field. And guess what? They concede big chances.
Yeah, and they don't create any big chances.
And they don't create big chances. And, Isak gets a tap in. He hits the bar on some fucking freak shot.
That was really strange.
That was insane. I don't even know what the hell that was. He got another pretty decent chance. Gordon took 7 corners and indirect frees and created chance. I'm just like, to me, I just saw like, these are still the same guys. Maybe they haven't clicked yet to the same level they were clicking at the end of last year. That's for sure, right? 4s and 5s like every other game week. But I didn't see anything that was like very alarming with either of 2 players. And I think it's a team that's getting better. Shar's back. Tonali's back. Maybe some guys will get fit. Barnes starting, I think, was a huge improvement for the team. And I mean, the home away thing, I just feel like, Wolves are a bottom 5 team. Fulham are, whatever, 13th team. Yeah. And like, those are just good enough for me. And then I'm probably going to get rid in 6. Yeah. That's kind of just where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, Fuckcock getting hurt again is just comedy. So I'm really curious about what's going on with Trips, because I wonder if he's going to Saudi or like Gala's just going to buy him or something, because like there was a lot of noise about him wanting to leave and he didn't leave, but he's there. He should be definitely starting over Livramento. I mean, definitely. Like, it's not even a fucking close call, and he played 0 minutes. So I wonder what's going on with that. But because to me, like, the balance, like when they have Trips and they have that outlet on the right and they can kind of shift over and like create this tilted field. I mean, they've been doing that for years, and they've never not done that since Edwards arrived, And, they might just also be having a hard time kind of coping with that. But
he was their entire like ball progression, their hub for every created chance. So, there's a bit of a learning curve there, someone like Shah is, he's not Trips, but he's a really good passer, and like him coming in will definitely change how they build up and move the ball forward, and Tonali will too. So I don't know what the hell's going on there, but I still just think it's a team on the up who's not playing Champions League fixtures soon, and these guys are nailed and playing well. So
their fixtures this season are really difficult. Like, they don't really have any super awesome prolonged runs. Like, they have all these like really difficult fixtures spliced between like a good one with some awkward ones. And I mean, like you're talking about, right? They have these 2 good games, even though they're away, and then the Chelsea Arsenal back to back, and then I don't know, they'll be interesting, but we have to just give them time because the 1 game a week is going to be such a huge deal this year. And there are only about 4 or 5 teams in the league that have the 1 game a week, where I think we do need to pay a lot more close attention to see like getting players like Bowen, aforementioned, can't stop returning Bowen. Shout out to Bowen. These guys like Gordon, who just play 1 game a week. If what you're talking about, your fears about the Liverpool players born's true, like Jota, Darwin, Gakpo, Chiesa, they start rotating, and and
it's like, guess what? Gordon and Isak play 90 every single week.
If you're getting 180 in 3 games from Diaz versus 270 from Gordon, it's not close. And
180 assumes he's like maybe starting 3 and getting subbed, or starting 2. Like it could be worse than that. Also.
No, in 3 games. Right. So it's interesting to just monitor it for this at this point. Like,
that's where I'm at. It's like they haven't been great. They've been okay, and okay with some returns is good enough. And we forget the red card, right? The red card is so huge in how we judge that.
Right.
Yeah, because
if they scored 4 in that game, we're like, oh yeah.
Which they should have. Every other team fucking does. Probably would have. So that also changes everything. And that's also why like Isak Gordon are even in our teams, right? It was like that game was like a big emphasis point. So it's a tough one to evaluate.
That's fair.
Should we jump to some questions maybe?
Yeah, let's do some questions.
Let's see what we got here. Hardly Boys, triple up of Mo, Holland, Palmer, plus a premium defender is perfectly viable with all the cheap options out there. Is there any reason we shouldn't have all of them and ensure we always have one of the best captained options for every week? And then Jitterbug and Brent followed up and said, I'm on wildcard. Is it stupid to not have Mo and Erling at this point? I guess we already touched on that with Erling.
Yeah. I mean, I think the 3 premium teams I've seen, I haven't liked any of them. You're just going to be giving points back in defense, I think. And
it's usually not a thing, right? Isn't like, I feel like big at the back is similar to threemium in that it comes up at some point every single season. And usually my thinking is like, doesn't that never work?
Yeah, usually not. I mean, especially when one of the threemiums is 15 million and the other one's 12 and a half.
10. Yeah,
instead of 10 and 11 and 10 also, then it's like, okay, we could maybe, like if you're trying to jam in Saka, Palmer, and Mo, it's like, and no Holland, it's like, you can get there, and then your defense is still good, your team still looks good, the other thing too, when I was wildcard tinkering, it was like, I did feel like the pool is very small of players that I actually wanted in certain price brackets. Like other than João Pedro, there wasn't a single forward that I felt really good about under 7.5. Solanke might fit that mold soon, and Mateta's been a little bit off the boil, and we've had some tough games. He might, if we click into gear, he might fit in that. Not right now. Ollie, even he has question marks. I mean, Kai is obviously an incredible pick.
Yep.
And then you have Isak, who, we're talking about the fixtures being very difficult to interpret. You can kind of choose your own narrative there, but all of a sudden there are not that many forward picks. Like the mid-price midfielders, like I don't like love wanting like Gordon right now if you're just buying from anyone in the field. So it's like, other than Mbeumo and Eze, I'm like, I don't really want anyone there, in the cheap mids. I'm like, I love Semenyo, love Rodgers, don't love anyone else there. So,
and even them, it's like, even Semenyo, like start every week. Like,
it's like,
they have some tough ones, I don't really know.
But like being able to sprinkle around the brackets, like instead of having to go double or emphasize in any one, like, because if you have less premiums, then you're leaning more on like, well, you have Mbeumo and Eze and Diaz and Jota, or you
got to think of it like a depth chart. You know what I mean? Like you got to think of like, here's my 7.5 that I like the most, and there's this guy behind him. And that's like your guys you can easily get to if this doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And then as you go down the list, you don't want 2 5.5s because there's fucking no one behind them that's good. And you don't want any of them. And they might both be bad, and the trickle downs hurt. It hurts your team.
And I mean, the other aspect is with Trent and Robbo. I mean, it's not having them just feels bad. Like they're just so attacking, and the defense is going to keep cleans, and like I just don't think that's good. And it's also right. We were talking about like, Palmer, Mo, or Trent could have 40 points right now, and that would be like, that's very much in line with what I've been watching. And he has 20, which is still like the most or whatever, right? So I just feel like Trent imbalances it a lot, because there's the other world where you just go 4-5s defense, right? And you just go put it all in a tag. You got 3 of them, like whatever. You have no
defenders
cheap mid, no
bones,
cheap attack.
Keepers aren't getting bones. Fuck them all.
No Raya. You just go 4-5-4 a goalkeeper, 5-4-5s, and you're just rotating whoever. And then you're looking at, okay, well now I can really make up the points because I have all these premium attackers. I'm not compromising anywhere. It's just like the defense. And I mean, I didn't spend time doing that because I just, I was just I wanted Trent Robbo so much, and I like the 7s and I like the way the balance looked. But if you are that hell bent on going with Mo and Holland, I would look at that. I mean, that might be
very
your way
viable.
home.
I mean, that's the upside of like a good game with good priced assets, is that like, I think that's very viable, and there's not like, there's no 4-5 that's on a top defense, obviously, right? Or we'd all
Rico.
have them. Well, Rico, yeah. Rico.
Okay.
But there's definitely rotations that exist where you're like only starting them in home teams against the bottom 10 or whatever. And like that can make a team good enough to start. And maybe those 6-pointers that trickle in are going to be less than Trent's 12-pointers, but you get, exactly like you said, you're making it up in other ways. So yeah. I think it's possible. Cowley and Jam asking about Munoz. Is it worth holding Munoz or shifting to someone like Rico Lewis? Comes up again. Should have put Rico on the fucking thumbnail. Holy shit.
Yeah. You can't do anything here before Leicester, but it's just the right side without Elise. It's not the same. He's attacking. He is up and down. Like his fitness and his work rate isn't in question, but I've been thinking about this a lot because it's like, why does Munoz look so much worse? And the answer, I think, is simply that Olise is so insane that
so good.
Like they had to do so much and double him and worry about him so much that Munoz was in space in the final third constantly.
And he's always available, right?
Yeah,
like whenever available. Munoz got the ball, the game is so easy because there's Olise. Lay it off.
So easy. And this amalgamation of fucking Edward. I mean, Kamada had he decent end of the game, but he had a really rough game against Chelsea. But not playing with one of the best wingers in the world, surprise, like impacting
makes
our
the team worse.
Team and our right side, and it's concerning. So I don't think Munoz is that great of a pick. I think you definitely just want to play him for Leicester. I wouldn't be doing anything with him this week, but unless if Sarr starts doing bits, but even with Kamada, I mean, neither of these players, I mean, Sarr might have a bit more pace. Obviously, he has more pace than Kamada, but, for Munoz, we were seeing from him last year with Olise, he was overlapping, underlapping, making back post runs when the ball's progressing on the left side and breaking out there because we were transitioning faster. And, now we're just kind of like stodgy, stagnant, slower football with like triangles breaking down. And, we've had a really hard start. A lot of our players are getting poached, heads returned, okay, we know who's here now. I expect us to improve, but
that was going to be my,
but we have bad fixtures. We have bad fixtures. So we have United, Everton, Liverpool, at NFO, which isn't an easy one, Spurs.
Yeah.
I mean, those are not
great clean sheet fixtures.
Oh yeah, let me just keep running Munoz out here.
Yeah.
Hopefully they figured it out. We have to be playing well for that to look good, where we can maybe keep a couple cleans. And so, I think he's a sell is long and short of it.
Yeah. I felt like that second half against Chelsea, I was like, yes, they're starting to click. Like Palace is showing me something here, but I hear you. A lot depends on how these new center backs settle. Is Chalobah just going to be fucking great? And the defense looks great.
I don't like Chalobah.
Is Doucouré coming in for Hughes, and they just look great because Doucouré's so much better than him in every way.
Well, Lacroix also we got.
Yeah, Lacroix. So I don't know, but I hear you. It's probably right.
Yeah. Kamada's concerning to me.
It's nice that they have Leicester because you can just wait. Wait a week, roll a week.
Yeah.
Kamada's concerning.
Yeah, he's just played badly. He's just been bad. Pretty simple as he's just been bad. And I don't know if it's the physicality, because it shouldn't be the tactics. He knows everything he's played with Glasner for months and months and years, right? But he's just been off it. He's just been so uninfluential. And I'm also kind of surprised at how slow he has been to give Sarr minutes. Even just subbing him on.
Sarr came on and looked good.
Yeah, he looked good, but I feel like he's subbing him on really late.
Yeah.
And
he subbed him for Mateta, which was weird.
Yeah, I mean, Mateta's... Yeah. I mean, I remember when Sarr was at Watford, he was having some issues with just picking up what he was supposed to, tactics and stuff, intelligence related stuff.
Such a weird
I remember.
Career, man.
Yeah, I mean that where it was he was doing. I think back when they had Milv, or I don't know who.
Yeah, Milv. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure when he was at Watford, he had 12 managers, but I remember reading some stuff about that where it was Sarr's football IQ or something. It's what I'm not sure about that, but I mean, it just I just Kamada on the right, and I just want him to play Sarr there. Like it's just Kamada coming in, and it's so slow, and I don't know.
You know that tweet that's just dudes can literally just sit around and name old sports players and just have the best time.
Mm-hmm.
Just so true. We've been doing that our whole lives. I mean, it's fun to just look at like, oh, who's on that like 1920 Watford team? It's just like
1920.
Oh, well, yeah, well, 19/20, 2019, 2020. You know, it's Sarr, Wells,
Dini,
João Pedro, Dini,
Brito.
They just have all these weird guys. You know, Etienne
the
Capoue.
the Greek fullback.
Oh yeah,
Holes.
where is he?
Holes.
Yeah. Jerry D was on that team.
Oh god,
dude! Like Ducore is on that team.
Yeah, they had some lads.
So many guys. Yeah, Holes. Yeah. Oh my god, I had so many hole bosses.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, we're a bit of a mess still, but we did play a little bit better. Second half.
You guys will get better. I believe in Glasner still. And
so do I.
We'll
get better.
Chalba.
He'll figure it out.
I have no problem with him.
Do you really? Okay. Yeah.
I think it's good.
I'm glad we got him because we needed some competent player who's not fucking Klein who can play center back. So
no,
I'm very happy to add him to the stable
really well. I think. Let's squeeze in a lifestyle question here before we go back to FPL. Arne Slot said, "For Walsh, if you were the Sorting Hat, what Hogwarts house would you put Alon in?"
I think Alon's a Gryffindor, honestly.
Wow, is that good? What does it mean? I don't even know. Harry Potter's clan.
Harry Potter. Well, all of them are in Gryffindor.
Yeah. The main character vibes. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean it's just because I think that to me the biggest thing with Gryffindors are just like leaders, and I think that that's kind of what you're like. So
thank you. Dude.
That's it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. When are we going to do the second? When's the second?
Yeah. Well, it is international break, so it's a good time to watch a fucking movie. Maybe I'll watch it this weekend.
Okay. I mean, can you actually tell me
Friday
if you do? Can you tell me? Because then I will rewatch it.
Yes, I'll definitely alert you.
Don't surprise me on this one.
Okay, I won't. Yeah.
Okay.
Get you ready with questions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Whisker
said, I forgot to tell you. We got the Mets had remember I told you I got all that Mets gear from the guy who works for the team.
Yeah.
One of them was like a Harry Potter Mets crossover where you got a scarf and it was one of the houses. And like you didn't know what it was until you opened it, so it's like one hat. So the colors were different based on the house colors for the Harry Potter, but it had like the Mets insignia. Colors. No, so like it had the Mets insignia on all of them on one half, and then the back side had the Harry Potter house, and we got Ravenclaw.
House did you get? Oh, Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw. Yeah, they're like the Smarty Pants house.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
All right. Which characters in Ravenclaw? Which that I know.
Cho Chang. Oh no, I don't think you know any of them.
There's no Ravenclaws in it.
I mean, there have to be, but they don't really like open up the other houses to the characters.
Okay.
Until
it's mainly just Gryffindor and Slytherin.
Yeah, they're just
Slytherin.
Yeah. The heel and the What's the non-heel? What do you call it?
I forgot.
Okay.
Heel and the fuck. What is it?
Guessed. Where are you?
Yeah, we as he's screaming right now. It's a fucking Whisker said, is Kai good enough to cover for Saka? Kai's good.
He's good, but what is the question? I don't understand this question.
What does coverage mean?
What does that? What does it mean?
Does coverage mean if I have
is he gonna get
this
the same
guy
points?
And I don't have his teammate who's a better pick, and that's why he's more expensive, then I'm fine. Because that's not fine. But I just don't really know what it means.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means. He's not cover because they both are going to score a lot of points in home Leicester, home Southampton.
Yeah.
In game week 6 and 7. So no, I guess that's my answer. No.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like the coverage idea is, I'm not going to captain them. Are they going to get roughly the same points so I can get a cheaper, lesser owned player to kind of be equivalent to the other guy? And I don't know. I mean, they're just both great, but Kai's so good, dude.
Yeah, Kai, because of his price and mainly because of his position, is a better FPL pick.
Yeah. I would prefer, if I could only have one and then build the rest of my team, I would have
100% it's Kai because Mo exists and Palmer exists and there's other really good mids. But there's very few good forwards.
And Kai's actually underpriced and Saka's just appropriately priced.
Accurately priced. Yeah,
matters.
that's fair. Yeah, that's
fair. Also, I wanted to mention this, no pens this year.
Yeah, there's no pens.
There's no pens.
I think it's probably one of those things where they're like, oh, we're going to make a fucking stand because we're a fucking referee union or whatever. And then 3 months from now, it's like a pen every week because they're just like correcting their dumb shit. Yeah, there's been
so far,
2 pens.
2 pens in 3 games. So there's 30 games and there have been 2 pens.
That's fucked up.
That's fucking insane.
That's absolutely
And one
insane.
was Holland and the other was, who was the other one? Hack.
Keta. Yep.
Yeah. It's that's crazy. Especially early in the season, I always expect more pens in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, teams a random just like handball, random bullshit call, whatever. Like, yeah.
No pens.
Sammy Stack said, because of the 5 transfer rule, there's less reason to make moves every week as rolling is always an option. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on moving aggressively and using transfers when we don't necessarily need to, versus being patient and waiting for certain assets to pick it up.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I've been thinking about this too. Like, well, I mean, not wildcard, but just looking at people like, oh, I have to get 3, I have to get 4, I have to get like, oh, I just can't do anything until I got 5. It's like, I think we might be a little bit overcorrecting on that front, right?
How many points do you get when you reach 5 transfers? Is it 100?
Mystery chip. If you got 5 transfers, you got 100 extra points. Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
You get like a fucking Xbox Live reward and you get a stress ball for it? Because then maybe my priorities would change.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like balancing this notion of having 4 transfers or using 2 to dramatically improve your team. If you can dramatically
improve my team for 500, Bob.
I think you need to scrutinize a little bit more because it's kind of like what we were talking about Konate. Like, you're saving them for what? Like, to still use them on these same players?
Yes.
Or is it like, I want to bide my time because there's 1 or 2 bad fixtures and then it's a sea of green and I really want to use these transfers on these 3 players or something? But like, are you thinking about saving 5 transfers to literally just be, okay, I'm making 5 moves now? Or are you doing it to what's the point?
Like another,
I think
I get another wild card if I get to 5 because I get to actual wild card and then still have 5. But it's like, but if you actually wild card, I assume your team isn't a fucking
your
disaster.
Good.
Yeah,
maybe you just need 3 or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think even wildcarding, like you coming out with 2 frees after a wildcard because you almost always, I mean, I don't think either of us have basically ever made a move straight the week after wildcarding.
No. Yeah, something very insane would have to happen.
If you even wildcard, you have 2 frees, you save, you have 3 frees, like that, you're in a great fucking position. You're in an incredible position right there.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think the goal is get 5 and then start making a single transfer and float. Like, you're not improving your team if you're doing that. So, like, it does come. I think the planning matters a bit more this year, where you need to really look at these are the 3 or 4 players that I want to move, and I want to do it this way, and like that's where the depth matters a lot because you don't want to have to like for my team, right? Like if Eze picked up a knock, I would just hold him, and I have Rodgers and João Pedro or something. But if you're looking at your team and you have,
or even Powell, Powell as a banker, you're like, I'll just play him
whatever. Yeah. But like, that's where I feel like you want, especially with Europe starting off, like you want to still be in position to save. But if you have someone like you have Gordon, right? And you're happy with him, right? Yeah. Plenty of people have Gordon not happy with him. Yeah. It's like, well, if you're going to hold him for 2 away fixtures that you're not sure about how he's going to perform ahead of Man City and then a bad run versus like don't get 4 frees and just get Mbeumo or Mbeumo's bad. He has 2 bit. Get Eze. It's like, just get Eze.
Diaz, Jota.
Eze is strictly better for the next 2, and then he's a better asset long term as well. So
it's like you're gonna then wild card in 6 or 7, and Eze is gonna be in your team, and Gordon's not. So like you just make it sooner than later. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, look, I've just ripped Mooney's and Doku out of my team on a Sunday for that exact reason. I'm like, I don't want them long term. I don't really trust them short term. I think the guys I'm getting in are better short term. Right, João Pedro's home Ipswich, home NFO. You know, Eze's home Leicester, home Man United at Everton. Like, I'd rather have them than just save and squint and be like, yeah, but Mooney's is home West Ham. It's like, just fucking make your team better, get more points.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because it is very like the saving situation and taking hit. I mean, no one's taking hits really, like very rare.
Yeah, you probably should not be ever.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that it makes sense because having all these bank transfers, like if you're just planning and getting safer guys, then you can do it without. But
yeah,
I mean, there's gonna be some type of like the game's gonna correct itself, and this new rules introduced, and I think. As a community, or like us in serious air quotes serious, bro. But like we're serious. I think overcorrecting to one side where it's like you should be saving under mostly all circumstances, where it should probably instead of be that like that's like at a 9, it should probably be more like at a 6, where it's like you should save, but no different than last year, like when you could get 2, and like
it's like every year we've ever played FPL, saving is great.
Yeah. If you can afford to save. But we set our teams up differently because we couldn't get 5 frees. So we didn't have depth. We had fucking fires all over the place because we're trying to high roll, right?
Yeah.
So it's different. Yeah.
Very
interesting. Game theory, interesting standpoint.
It was cool to see 3 free transfers on my team before I used 2 of them, and I'm back to normal 1 free. But it was nice to see.
You had your fleeting moment.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Let's see, not that many more questions. Ashir said, out of Kai and Isak, which one should make way for João Pedro so funds can be released for Salah in midfield?
I mean, I just trust Kai so much more. Trust the team.
And also I'm assuming, if I'm wildcarding in 6, then I'm keeping Isak over Kai. But you kind of have
any
to
other scenario.
Yeah, any other scenario, I'm keeping Kai because I know he's great. I know
we're gonna want him for 6.
The team he plays for is great, and I know I want him in 6.
Yeah.
I think that's just basically it.
Yeah.
Oshizi said, I'm glad he asked this because we didn't talk about him. Is Porro startable versus Arsenal or a transfer out? If we don't have another good defender to start, do we bench Porro?
I think he gave you a really good idea against Newcastle. I mean, he's just going to farm shots that are low XG, and he could bang any one of them, but they're not going to clean and. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what he showed me in his 1-pointer against Newcastle is that, like, I can start this guy any week. Yeah. Don't care. Creates chances, takes set pieces, and takes fucking 6 shots. Like, get in my team.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you were lucky enough, or not lucky, you were fortunate enough to be able to have your team set up so you could bench him in Newcastle.
Yeah, bench him. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to start him in Arsenal, right? You're not going to play fucking NFO against Liverpool. So
Nico at Liverpool.
But then you're looking at a wide berth where, you don't have any home bankers for a while. I mean, I don't think home Brenham is a home banker, honestly, this year. But
no, they're good. Yeah.
But they could clean 2 of the next 5. You don't know which 2 like home Brenham, at United, at Brighton, home Western, at Palace. Like you could tell me there's 2 clean sheets there. I'd be like, which 2? 20 roll it literally any of those. I have no fucking idea.
No clue.
And you just start him in all those games and you're fine.
Mid-table defense, just like Villa.
Playing mid-table teams.
And he takes fucking 1 million shots and set pieces.
Yeah. So
he's like a 5-5 Leaf Davis.
Yes.
But his team's a little better.
Well, probably more than a little better. They're better.
They're better.
But yeah, I mean, he's still great. Great pick.
Yeah, great pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't like not having him after watching that game. I'm just like, I had teams where I kept him, but I mean, Rico just kind of turned my head a little bit too much. But
it was scary watching him, even with him first on my bench.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, oh God,
is
he about to brace? Like, am I fucked? Blacho said, what 4 or 5 defense can you have in your team without a transfer for the next 8 game weeks? very specific, but let's just call it long term, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Villa was one that was shouted. Right? I wish I had Leif Davis, not just because this happened just recently, but I just still feel like Villa are
They're just not a good defense.
I have 3 Villa players. I'm like, how did I get here? Like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I mean, Brighton, you were very close to dunk. I mean, I think Brighton's...
But they don't have good fixtures.
Well, they have home Ipswich, home NFO before a bad run. Includes home Wolves.
You're talking about 8, right?
Start every week. Yeah, it's definitely not a start every week. Yeah, that's fair.
Chelsea. They have some good ones. A few. They have good for the next 4.
Yeah, they really only have like one really bad one.
I mean, even like Brenham, they have these 2 bad ones, but then they have 6 good ones. So
yeah.
The question's tough because 8 start every week for 8 is hard for
it's
any
4
or 5
long
pick,
time, and that's why I go back to Villa. Rate them or don't rate them. It's just the fixtures are just absurd, and they're just like this. Most teams won't have a run this long and this good all season.
Right.
Home Everton, home Wolves, at Ipswich, home Man United, at Fulham, home Bournemouth.
Yeah,
that's not 8, but it's pretty fucking close.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think you could throw Lissandro in there. They don't have great fixtures, but I think the defense is going to be okay with the guard.
Yeah, the defense should be good. Yeah.
Anthony Robinson's there. He's attacks a lot. Like, he's just still good. Looks good. Rico, you just start Rico every week. Yeah. A lot of picks. I mean, and this
Kilman, I really like too.
Yeah, the fixtures are so bad initially, but they got better. Yeah. They're
a lot better now that Man City's passed them.
Yeah, it's true.
They're just like fine now.
Yeah.
Pick said, what are your thoughts on Matoma for the upcoming run? Hard to go there.
Yeah, it's really
hard. But also
hard
to evaluate. They've had really weird, bad fixtures. I mean, they murdered Everton, as everyone does. Tough late winner, home Man United, and then the red card fucks up everything. That's what I don't like about red cards, right? Is there's nothing that we learned from that match, I don't think. Like, Arsenal were beating the absolute shit out of them for 45 minutes, and then a red card happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're really stressing the next 2 games, I think, very heavily for Matoma, that he needs to get points Ipswich NFO. I mean, I guess it's the first game, the Everton game, he was like coming inside so much. He was so influential, where I was like, is he not just doing winger stuff? And then the next 2 games happened. I was like, oh no, he's just a winger again.
Yeah.
But
that might mean that in the easy games, he's cutting inside, right? And like the hard games, he has to keep the width or whatever.
Yeah. It just feels like this season, especially, and looking at a player like this, is if I'm not sure that it's going to be a hold for a long time, like, I don't want to be spending transfers on my mid-price midfielder.
Yeah, it goes back to is he one of the best, like, 8 to 10 best attacker picks in the game? And it's like, absolutely not. And there's no world where he is.
Yeah, and this is another aspect with him looking at it where it's like, he has 2 incredible fixtures, and then he has like a bad run for a month and a half. Look at his game week 12. He has at Bournemouth, home Southampton, at Fulham, at Leicester, home Palace, at West Ham, home Brentford. Like, I would happily wedge him in for like 12 because then you're like, okay, I could buy at least 5 or 6 games and I can deal with him at the tail end of that run. But I have like a bigger gap of just like, I can start him happily for at least 4. 5, 6, 7 if I need to. And I think with these non-premium picks, like with the 5 frees, like that's sort of where we should kind of be looking towards. So
I agree.
With just 2 games, I'm just like, I'd rather get, someone else either vacate from the premises, Eze, Mbeumo, where it's like, right, like Eze and Mbeumo, for example.
Even Mbeumo with his bad fixtures, I'd so much rather have him.
Yes. Like, I mean, team dependent. Like, if you still have your wild card
at 6, maybe not.
Then okay. But if I have already wild carded, I'm like, oh, I made a mistake. I need to do that. Like, I would rather have Mbeumo than Matoma right now for game week 4, and it's not remotely close. Like, it's not even in the same stratosphere of close.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I think it's tough because he's competing with them. Like, I mean, he's competing with Eze and Mbeumo.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part about both FPL in general, right? It's like Matoma's upside is like 7 goals, and Mbeumo's going to get 4 to 5 free ones.
Yeah, his upside's 15 goals.
He's going to make that up in pens.
200 points this year, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at my team a little closer. Like, I feel like the odds are very high that I'm wildcarding in 6.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you have the Newcastle players.
Players. I have João Pedro. All of them kind of, switch then. My defense is thin because I still have Barco.
Yeah.
Just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. And you can save until then.
Start thinking about that and just save until then. Yeah.
Yeah, you can easily save until then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
You just have to hope you don't hemorrhage price too bad, but
yeah,
even that, it's not that important. Yeah.
I have every most expensive player already in my team.
And it's still fine. Because the Fulham too. What's the Fulham switch? Yeah, they're fine for 4-5. I mean, even their 6 is okay, but they have 2 homes. That's okay.
Yeah. It's okay for ESR.
Yeah. Okay.
Ben said, any thoughts on Welbs versus João Pedro? And Sobo said, I second this. Ladro's only played 9 more minutes. I'm back to Brighton, I guess. And Pedro's just such a better player, and I think he's also just more flexible and on pens. And by flexible, I mean he can play 4 positions, and Welbs can play 1.
Yeah, and Ferguson's not hurt anymore, so I'm with you on João Pedro. It just feels like he's
really good.
Yeah, he's just really good. I mean, Welbs is also really good, but in a very specific way. João Pedro just has everything, and it seems like he's Hertzler loves him. He keeps talking about him in such glowing terms.
Yeah, he's the leader. All this shit. Yeah,
and he pops up everywhere. He can play everywhere. He can make subs and just put him wherever he needs to put him. And he's just so clever. And the pens are, we've just said there's 2 pens in 30 games, but they're going to get a few pens this year. I mean,
they'll get some. They have fucking Matoma and Minta and
they should get some.
They're dribbling. More dribbling than most teams in the fucking league.
Yeah, I mean, he got 10 pens last year, all comps?
They got
something
many.
insane. Yeah. So, João Pedro just seems like a safer, better pick. Pens are just OP.
The flexibility is also not nothing. You mentioned Ferguson. We mentioned Ruder last pod. They have all these wingers. And Ruder or Ferguson could start up top in any game. And Welbs, we know his injury record. Whereas Pedro can just slot over here, slot over there, do a job here, do a job there, find his way in the team.
Yeah.
Last question was Mish. He said, this is a fantastic question from Mishka as usual. He said, now that I've used all my chips and came in as second loser for the mug, what advice do you have to reset my dopamine and continue to be plugged into the game? Holding transfers feels like the hardest thing in the world right now. So Mishka just needs to feel high from the game. And what can we do for him here?
I mean, I think honestly the answer is triple ups on defense.
That is a true high.
Yeah, you need to have dueling triple ups. You need to have dueling triple ups on defense that rotate, and
never captain the chalk.
Never captain chalk.
Captain chalk. Just look who's the most voted on, who's the most obvious cap. Don't captain them.
Don't pick that one. Yep.
Triple defense is risky shit. That feels fun.
Yeah, risky shit. That's not it's borders on reckless, but it's...
No, but there's a difference. You're not tripling up on Ipswich defense. Find Ipswich, a good run and good players that you like on a team you like, right? And it's you're not just capping, you're not just blind, cap this guy. You're capping someone you like in a good fixture. It's just not... He's not as good as Haaland in a good fixture also.
Yeah.
You're just taking those sort of
maybe
55 45s and you're taking the 45.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe not even. It depends how high you need to get, but maybe it's not even rotating triple defense, because even just tripling on Arsenal defense, every Arsenal game is still a very tightrope that you're walking, but it does get boring if you do it for a long time. So maybe you do need 2 teams though, so you can rotate and feel differently.
I think you should have 2 keepers and 2 defenders. You should rotate between 3 teams. You have 2 or something like that. Maybe.
You have 3, 4, 5 between goalkeeper and 2 defenders, and then you have the 5th defender is just some rogue Poro or something.
Yeah.
And you're just going snip, snap, triple.
Maybe it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
because then week to week, you're rooting for like a different team. You have like a different fixture that you care about, different players you care about. And you're just like trying to hit the jackpot, basically. You're going for like a stress ball. You're just going for a team of the week situation. Like, oh my God, this guy had triple,
Chelsea
whatever
defense.
Yeah, like Spurs
and they were all
defense.
4-5.
He had Van de Ven, Romero, and Poro one week, and they lucked into it clean. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. All right. That is a good one, though.
Good. And then I have so many asses to slap, unless you want to talk about something else first.
No, I think we're good.
Dude, so many signups. Thank you to everyone. What we usually do here on International Breaks is we pod this pod after the weekend. Then we don't pod again until Friday My Life, the Patreon episode next Thursday. So that would be September 12th. I forgot to tell you, Walsh, that I'm recording with LR on Monday, week from today. We're going to do a little thing, see how it goes.
What do you guys got going?
Little like post-mortem vibes. Post-mortem of game weeks 1 through 3.
Oh, cool. Okay. I'll look forward to that.
There's going to actually be more shit. But yeah, thank you everyone signing up. And
he's such a junkie. Can't get enough of us.
So are we. Let's be honest. He DM'd me and I was like, yeah, obviously I'm in. Like, whatever.
He DM'd you to be on our pod? Or you're going on theirs?
Yeah, no. He DM'd us saying, like, let's do a post-mortem in the international break. And I was like, yeah,
on our feed or their feed?
On our feed.
It's fucking savage.
I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let me invite myself over to your house.
Dude.
You're going to make dinner, right? It's going to be good.
Yeah,
I'll sleep in your bed. I'll fuck your wife. It'll be awesome.
All right, let me slap asses. We got JD, Andrew DeFranco, Sam, Dio, Chris Riley, Daniel Sullivan, Anthony Sharp, Fruit Salad, Adam Langan.
Fruit salad?
Fruit salad. Don't ask, dude. Our fucking perverted supporters. I don't know what to say. Adam Langan, Ross Dryden, Bertle Blom, Tom Simon,
Harry Potter, Quidditch character,
Senor Bubs, Big Al, Alex Shaw, Philip, Slip Monkey, Arnaud Mertens, Alan Seabright, Damon Tedder, Jonathan Croft, James Bampridge, Martin Romanov, Isaac McDonald, Jordan Vines, Tom Jacobs, Sean Claridge, Nicholas Bolton, and Omri Yaron. Softy ass, baby. Get in there. Holy shit, that was really, really hard.
Maybe if I finish like OR 8 this year, we'll keep getting ass slaps this year.
Oh my God. We'll be in the
that'd be good for business.
We'll be in the fantasy football scout.co.uk lineup.
Oh,
no, we would never sell out to them.
I would never respond to a single email they ever sent. Haven't done, never will. Don't worry, guys.
What was the email they sent? About draft or some
draft or some stupid fucking person who works for FPL.
What's the new
No, it was draft or something.
No, it was like challenge, wasn't it?
I don't know. It's so
whatever the new game
fucking
is.
Stupid. They're like, hey, like market for us. Like, get the fuck out of my inbox, you joke. It's ridiculous. Hey, do something for free that's going to only benefit us and have no impact on you. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to play that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. It's dumb shit. You guys come with some stupid shit. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, it's ridiculous. Oh my God.
Oh, it's good stuff. All right, dude. Any last words?
Well, I'm not going to see you tomorrow. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you in a couple of weeks. Check us out at FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLFPL. Support the page. Patreon.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, rate, review. Cheers.